Hello, I'm Victoria Seed and I am coming to you live from the Vesta Approach in Manchester, UK. I just said live. I'm not live at all. This is pre-recorded. During the summer, all of the 10 at 11s are pre-recorded so that I can still offer them and fit around my other commitments. So what do? I help families who are living with a loved one's drug or alcohol use to reduce their stress and live a better life. And I do this by teaching really effective strategies to cope through my one-to-one work, through my training, through my group programs and my brand new membership. And I can help you too. Professionals, if you're watching, no problem at all. Join in, message me, comment below and pass this on to any possible clients who might need to hear about this topic. At the moment, I'm launching a course which is brand new for family members affected by a loved one's addiction. It's called Stop Enabling and Start Helping. So the theme of the 10 at 11s over the next few weeks, including last week as well, are all about enabling. And we hear about this topic all the time, don't we? So in today's live, we're going to be talking about what the difference is between enabling and helping. Okay. Really, really important. So what I'm going to go through is what enabling is and what helping is. And then we'll talk about some of the differences at the end. So what is enabling? Enabling is where family members, friends and partners who are living in this difficult situation end up removing the natural and negative consequences of their loved one's substance use at a cost to themselves a lot of the time. And if that happens, nobody wins. So your loved one is not experiencing the consequences of the use, and therefore their use may go on for a longer time than it might not have done if the enabling had not occurred. Okay. What we often find is that once people are left alone with the substance, and I don't mean isolated, I mean with love, with care and with compassion, but with boundaries around what happens when they use their substance. If they experience that and experience the love and the kindness and the care and compassion at other times, that is when we are going to start seeing a change. Okay. I can't guarantee that, but setting healthy boundaries and reducing enabling behaviors and increasing helping behaviors does usually create a change in my experience. So why do families enable? So families enable, and it's really important because I don't want anyone to be beating themselves up about having enabling behaviors. Okay, so people do this from a kind place. You know, there's various reasons why. So some of those reasons are that you want to be able to help, but you might not actually know how. And when you're in a constant state of stress, it's really difficult to think strategically. And then that means that we respond emotionally. So we kind of do the first thing that comes into our head. Families don't want to cut their loved ones off. So what happens is that usually they end up doing things that they wouldn't often normally do in any other circumstance. And even when they know, family members come to me and they say, oh, well, I'm doing it wrong because I'm enabling. There's no right or wrong. It's just thinking about what works and what doesn't, right? And that can be really unique and individual to your family. So enabling can be driven by fear, anxiety and guilt as well. You know, some family members blame themselves for the loved one's use, which you may have heard your loved one blaming you, but what you've got to think about is that if somebody wants a substance, they will use any reason to get it, and that can often involve blaming others. They want to make everything better. They can't stand seeing a loved one in pain, and you might have experienced this yourself. So they kind of take away the impact of it, but the longer you do that for, the less likely your loved one is to change. You want to protect them. So I work with a lot of mums and particularly mums and their sons who are using substances. You know, and it's a difficult place to be where you've got that parenting role and you've got a role of trying to care for somebody with a substance use problem, and it's hard. You know, it might be to try and stay in control, and that's why people enable, or to minimize your loved one's pain. And some of the examples around enabling are, you know, lacking boundaries, solving problems for your loved one, rationalizing and excusing behavior, tidying up after them, allowing them to live rent-free, you know, not keeping them responsible for their own lives, paying bills, paying debts, lying for them, rescuing them, all of these things. And it could come in many, many forms. So why does it matter? It matters because, like I've said, your loved one needs to experience the natural consequences from drinking or drug use. Otherwise, they're not going to have any reason to change. So you'll hear about rock bottoms and things like that. I don't personally believe that somebody has to hit a rock bottom to change, but they will need to experience the feelings around the consequences of the use in order to start thinking about change. And it's a natural response to want to assist and take away that pain, but you know, you're going to remove that opportunity for your loved one to change. So it's something worth thinking about. So when we talk about helping, then what is helping? In this context of supporting somebody with a substance misuse issue and supporting yourself, don't forget yourself, we've got to think about doing things for that someone is unable to do themselves. And you might be like, well, they can't do anything themselves because they're always intoxicated or whatever. Your loved one is capable of a lot more than you probably give them credit for, because to get up every day, to focus on getting that substance, to make all of the decisions that they have to make, even as, like, say, a functioning addict or somebody that is using substances in a functional way, they are still managing to refrain, usually, from using their substances when they get up in the morning. You know, they might function, they go to work all day, they might do a very, very good job, but then they are waiting and making a decision to wait till they come home and use their substance, or on the way home, whatever it is. Yeah. So lots of decision-making ability. There's lots of problem solving involved. Even with entrenched substance misusers, they are getting up and making lots of plans and decisions around obtaining their substance, you know, and yeah, it does change the brain chemistry of the brain when we're like that, so that is the only focus, but there is still decision-making there. So therefore, you got to let your loved one make decisions for their own life, and as well as allowing them to experience those consequences, it's allowing them to make good decisions and problem solve as well. So when we help, it's about helping your loved one to facilitate them getting the control of their own life. So once you hear that change talk about, oh, I can't carry on like this, you know, I don't want to do this anymore, that is when you start offering your help. When your loved one is intoxicated and saying lots of different things, you withdraw from that, because let's face it, they're probably not going to remember it, and you are, and you may have a deep and meaningful conversation, you might experience conflict, but nobody wins. So remove yourself from that. Liaise with your loved one when they're sober, the next day or whatever, and try and have those really good conversations, but they can be difficult conversations as well. So you can love your loved one and live your own life. And some examples of being helpful are providing information, for example, around the options for help that they can get, whether it's 12 steps, whether it's smart recovery, whether it's a local drug and alcohol service, whether it's rehab, whether it's detox, whatever it is, GP, whatever. You know, listening to them when they're sober, putting yourself and your family first is helpful. You know, be a role model, live your life, let your loved ones see that there are other things that are attractive other than their substance. Compliment and praise them when they're sober. Tell them that you enjoy spending time with them then. Have a belief that your loved one can change, because believe me, you know, there's some people that I've worked with that I thought may never change, and they have. So keep that hope in mind, because if you've got that hope, they will have that hope. Be assertive, tell them how you feel, get your own help. Really, really important. Communicate positively and learn some effective strategies that I can help you with, and that, potentially some other services can help you with as well. So what's the difference then? Enabling is usually an emotional reaction in trying to cope with a family member's drinking or drug use, which is perfectly natural and reasonable, but it isn't going to work in terms of getting any change. Helping is what is more of a strategic response to the situation, whereby you're developing healthy boundaries and you're putting your needs in there as well, so that you're getting a bit more of an equal relationship. And remember, you can always treat your loved one with love, care, respect, and compassion, and all the time. But in doing so, with the boundaries, you are offering help and support when you hear that change talk, because you can't keep giving yourself to them and getting nothing back, right? So this is going to be motivational to your loved one. It teaches your loved one to be independent, allows them to problem solve, and they're more likely to get help and experience help if they experience the consequences of the use. So what can you do about it? I'm going to show you now, because my course is available here. It is only £49. If you are worldwide, it'll translate into wherever you are. The payment's taken by Stripe. So subscribepage.com/start helping. You can get that course right now, get started right away on it, and start changing your life. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below or drop me a message and I will be very happy to help. See you next week.